Unlocking marital bliss. So beautiful to be here this very afternoon, and I'm glad that you are tuned in and you are watching Unlocking Marital Bliss with Miss Iris Rod. It's always a pleasure to come and bring bliss into your homes, to bring bliss and knowledge that will cause you to actually build bliss in your marriages. And I am so excited that I can be able to present this to you. And tonight, I am glad to say that we are here at the wonderful Fairway Boutique Hotel. Fairway Boutique Hotel. Yes, so much is going on, and you want a place for your venue, wedding venues, reception, and all that kind of stuff. You can always come over here. They have so much, and as you see running on the screen, so many campaigns are going on. You are so much welcome. Now, let me bring this to you. Tonight, we are talking about marriage under siege. Marriage under siege. When I mention that, many of you can be able to bear witness because when you look around you, it appears like everybody's collapsing. Every marriage is falling apart. Everything is falling away. What are we going to do? Can marriage survive? Can marriage be able to prevail? I got good news that marriage is able to prevail if you listen and you take knowledge, because the difference between those that win between success and failure is knowledge. What do you know? What you know is able to cause you to prosper or cause you to fail in marriage. Okay? So when you don't know nothing, it's so possible you're able to fail. Marriage under siege, so much is going on today. So much is going on today. And before I bring in my guests, I want you to understand exactly what I'm referring to. Have you ever realized when you read the Word of God that when Adam was alone in the garden, he was there, he was doing good. God gave him the power to be able to name all the animals, take care of the garden, work it, do A, B, C, and Z. And he was doing so wonderful. And during the time, Satan never, ever attacked him. Satan never walked up to Adam. Never. And it appeared like Satan never existed. But Satan actually existed. When God said it's not good for Adam to be alone, I'm going to make him a helper suitable for him. And God brought the woman, and Adam got a wife. When Adam got a wife and they became one, that's when Lucifer showed up. So many of you have gotten married and you thought, when I get married, it's going to get better. Yes, it's supposed to get better, but why is it getting worse? This is what you need to understand tonight. We are going to teach you why you're falling apart. We're going to teach you on that, because the moment the woman came in, at that point, when the woman came in, Satan showed up because he hates to see the full image of God, two becoming one. He doesn't want it. That's when he struck, so that he would make them two, so that he would separate them, so that he would pull them apart. He doesn't want that unity because it reflects the image of God. So, to many of you watching us, we're on a journey. I'm going to take you on a journey with my guest. We're taking you on a journey. Your life will not remain the same, whereby you will be able to prevail in marriage, succeed in marriage, and your marriage will not be under siege, but it will totally be able to prevail and be successful. And you will enjoy bliss in your marriage, because now you know. I told you, whatever you know is what makes the difference between winning and losing, between success and failure. Together with me, would you welcome a friend of mine, always hosted here many times, and I'm glad to have him back on set, Pastor Philip.
Yes, sir.
You're so much welcome.
Thank you very much. This is a
Been a
wonderful,
while.
yeah, it has been a while.
But I'm glad you're back.
I am.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
excited to have you on set. Anytime I call on you, you're always available.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for many that don't know you,
Yes.
are you married?
Yes, I am married, and I've been married for the last 27 years, coming to 27. 27 years of my marriage since 1997. And that 27?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been married and I enjoy marriage. Yes, to one wife. Yes,
Okay.
yeah, I am married. I'm Pastor Philip Nyombi by the grace of God. I love the Lord and I am a Christian, and I mean a born-again Christian who believes in the Bible and its values.
I love that born-again Christian who believes in the Bible and its values.
Yes.
Now I want to start with you, born-again Christian, who believes in the Bible and its values. We're facing a challenge, and I say marriage under siege. And this is what we're going on. You guys, people are getting married today, okay?
Yes.
And when the girl is walking down the aisle, I think the best, what I've seen in our day, when you talk about marriage, people are only excited on the wedding. People dance on their wedding day.
Yes.
They dance and really shake their bodies on their wedding day.
Yes.
And when they get, somehow they think this joy is supposed to be maximized here on the wedding. By the time the marriage is in, at least I tasted the joy of the wedding. I danced, I was happy. And on this side, there is no joy. Things are falling apart. And especially among you people that call yourselves Christians.
Yes.
You people that call yourselves what?
Christians, born-again Christians.
You see, I really don't have a problem with the Muslims.
Yes.
So them, that thing, they say, this is how we do it. That's that.
Them.
That's them.
Yeah.
But people that claim almost over 75% of Ugandans confess to be Christians, and the highest rate of divorces is not among Muslims, but among Christians. And yet when we walk down the church, the aisle, we're dancing, we're dancing.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
What is it we don't know?
I want to start with every marriage begins with a celebration. It is worth celebration. It was dancing. Everything that is good is in marriage. And it is worthy to be like praised, and all of us come together, rejoice, and enjoy the start of such a good idea, a plan of God. And I have no problem with someone that dancing off whatever that was, so that is now entering, or she's entering marriage. So we have no problem with you who is dancing, but did you understand that what you're entering is work? That is the problem. People come into marriage without a realization that they're entering into work. Marriage is work. My friend Silas, work is work. You work with your brain, you work with your emotions, you work with your hands, you work with all the expertise that there is, because it is work. Laziness has no place in marriage. So the first date that you are enjoying, just know that that night you're starting to work. And people forget the work and they expect to have bliss. Bliss comes from hard work.
I believe
I have been working for the last 29 years.
29
2 of those years I was working to win this girl. 2 of those years.
Yeah.
That was my idea. God has spoken to me and I want this girl into my life.
Okay.
So 2 years I was working tirelessly day and night to convince this girl that you're mine. That is work. And when I got her 27 years down the road, a lot has happened. I have been working. You know, marriage does not end at the wedding day. Doesn't. And that's why it starts there. And that is God's idea. The Bible says in 2:24 that for this reason a man shall leave his parents and join to his wife, and they shall become one. From the idea of verse 18, it's not good for a man to be alone. Then for this reason, godly reason, now a man joins to the wife. They become one. Now work begins there. Getting intertwined together, getting together, this togetherness.
So I love what you're saying.
Yes.
Many are failing
Yes.
because they behold marriage. They don't understand that marriage works.
Work.
For a marriage to work, you must work
You are the workers in the marriage to make it work.
to make it work.
Yes.
So marriage doesn't work automatically.
No way.
Now, but I hear a lot of you people, Christians,
Yes.
this is what you say. If it is of God,
Yeah.
it will work automatically. What do you say?
No. It is, and if it was of God, you would have woken up like one day, everything is put on your table. God gives you wisdom, knowledge, understanding, skills, revelations to help you. Those are all spiritual endowments,
So that you may work.
so that may work. They are
For
not bought
marriage.
from the beauty stores or everywhere. It is work. When you want wisdom, you need to pray. If you need understanding, you need to be taught. If you need all whatever that God gives you to use them to work. So marriage, I don't want to lose the point. Marriage is work, and marriage is not for lazy people, and marriage is not easy.
No.
Mark this point, Pastor.
And that's
Marriage
the one
is
I
not
tell people
easy.
here.
And if it
Marriage is easy.
it is not.
Ignorance is hard.
And marriage, it is not easy because it is
Why?
not for weak people. It is for strong people. Those people that are very strong, they can be able to work out their marriage. Yes, marriage is easy when you have knowledge, when you have wisdom, when you have understanding, when you have the training, it becomes
So
easy.
it is only not easy
Yes.
to the ignorant.
That is the word you want to use. To those that don't have wisdom, to those that don't have this real
Exactly.
understanding, it is
That-
hard.
It will be hard as long as you don't have understanding,
Sure.
because you're ignorant.
ignorant.
And today we are here to show them that actually you need wisdom, you need understanding. For marriage to work, you must work it.
Sure.
And some of the things that need to be worked out if your marriage is going to work, these are some of the things we need to bring out. We go to church, but we never work a relationship with God.
Talk about relationship now. The relationship between Adam and God brought God to think that it's not good for a man to be alone, and I will make a suitable helper. That was a relationship between God and Adam.
So the relationship between God and Adam is the one that brought God to say it is not good. Because I've poured myself into you. You're full of me.
Yes.
Now you need to go and pour yourself into another. Now, this is something that many people that are not married forget. Before I meet somebody, I think I don't need God.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, this is about me. No, I've had you preachers go around and you tell us, this is what you tell us. Hey,
Marriage is God's idea. It is God's plan.
okay, it's God's plan, but look over here. You go around and you tell us, hey, look over here. He who finds a wife, so go seeing, go seeing, go seeing. Well, what kind of seeing are you telling us?
Everyone can see.
We don't need God. I can see.
No, when you see, because now there are reasons as to why you get this woman as a husband or as a man per se. Initially, you need God to guide you to the right person. There is an analogy that says everyone finds his own rib. I may not go into details of that. But when you find, the Bible talks about finding a wife, not finding a girl or any other, finding a wife. Now, when you look out, you're under the guidance of the work God has already put in you because you have a relationship. Both of you in the relationship, you are finding the right person God has for you. God is guiding you, giving you what I call the wisdom, guidance, understanding, and revelation. Those are all teachings that we do in premarital counseling or in marriage seminars. So first and foremost, both of you need to be guided of God to become friends that result into marriage. Now, when you are married, like you said earlier, those people that dance, rejoice, go out, having done their vows, and they know, now I have started my journey. there is work. Because now two of you are coming from different lifestyles, coming from different families as human beings. So getting fitted together to become one, that is also work.
That is work.
That is work.
That is work.
Fitting
Now,
into one another.
When you talk about being able to come together
Yes.
and then you fit into one another
When we become one.
to become one,
Yes.
that is something profound. And I don't want us to forget
Yes.
the common talk.
Yes.
If it is of God,
It will stand.
it will work automatically. This is what people say. It will work automatically. And then we become lazy thinking everything will just work out. We become lazy. So, but one thing I've discovered that whatever is of God is work.
Yeah, it's work. You have to
Is
work.
So nothing works automatically. It is just work. You have to step out in faith, and then you realize I build my relationship with God, like you said. So when I build, that's number one. I and God. So then I'm able to supply the same to the person that God gives me. Now, in all of these things, even when God says you come and be a helper, all that work is work. Help is work. And you being able to stand and reach out to her and say, she shall be called woman. All that is work. Because you now have a revelation of who she is. Not she shall be a sex object. Not she shall be the one who I can use when I want to. She shall be my maid. She shall be my chef. She shall be, no. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. Now, revelation, like you mentioned, flesh of my flesh. That revelation comes in. She becomes me. We become one. And you're saying this is going to take work. And am I right when I say most people, when we are so excited on our wedding day, and then the excitement dies away, it's because we never had love, but we had hormones, feelings. Hormones are the one, love never dies. Love never dies. But most of the times when we come together on our wedding day, what is bringing us together are feelings, are hormonal feelings. And many of us have not gone past the feelings. That's why it becomes easy. After I walk into the house, and then I don't feel anything anymore. And when I don't feel anything anymore, I say, this thing can't work. Why? Because I come expecting the other hormones, the other feeling I had, the adrenaline I had, that excitement I had is supposed to stay forever. And nothing changes. So when it disappears, I don't know what to do but to pack my bags and walk away.
Silas, there are two things that I want to outline here. I don't want to drive so much on people that excuse themselves by saying it was a feeling, it was a hormone, and those people are just lazy. They just fail to understand. Then I want to bring one step back. Did you get a realization of what marriage is? Do you have a revelation of marriage? Did God really tell you or speak to you? Did you get the guidance that is required to get married? All those are educational stages. Man realizes, I want to get married. The first stage there is to understand, one, who you are. Are you really the person that can get married? Are you really ready to find a partner? Do you have the charisma, the understanding to find the bone of your bones and the flesh of your flesh? Because that is extraordinary. It calls for revelation, not by beauty that you find, or the figures that you find, or the clan, or the origin of whatever person that you want to get married. It's a realization. Yeah. I understand, I know your testimony as Silas. I know, I've read your testimony, I know your testimony. I know how you found your wife. Yeah. There was not too much of you to be explained to that she's the one. The first day, the first time you saw her,
I knew.
You realized that this girl belongs to me. She didn't know.
That's true.
You brought her to this image, to this
Yes.
picture, and
Yes.
she accepted. She's been with you over 20 years.
20 years,
Now,
yeah.
that is the same. You know my story.
Yes.
You know how I saw her.
Yes.
Now, people are taken by emotions and by selfish interests without taking the step back. Is it really the person that I want? And those are, they have brought a lot of confusion, conflicts, misunderstanding, and that's why you now bring about this theme that marriage is under siege. And what is this marriage that is under siege? Yes, marriage is work, but now there are these people that went by emotions.
And that's the largest number. Most people come together and it's about how I feel. You know, scientifically, uh, as our body changes, we come to puberty, then hormones are released into our bloodstream. As our body changes, then there's an attraction towards the opposite sex. And many, probably 9 out of 10, really never go beyond how they feel towards each other. They never go beyond, because these hormones, you feel good when you see her. You feel good. Your heart skips a bit when you see her, when you hear her voice, when he shows up in the room. I mean, you literally get paralyzed. You can't move in his presence. And what is happening is that the hormones have been released into your bloodstream. The same thing happening to you is what happens to animals. But animals never build covenants. Marriage is a covenant. Animals never build covenants. So boy and girl call it, I have fallen in love. Now, there's nothing called falling in love. We don't fall in love. The reason many fall in love is because they follow their emotions, their hormones, and they think now that is love. But it's just the hormones released into your bloodstream, your physical, into your brain, and it's what happens to animals, okay?
And to everyone else.
And everyone else. But that is not love, and it's not marriage. So God expects us to go beyond feeling and make a conscious decision to enter a covenant. That's why in a covenant, you don't say, I feel I want to be with you.
No.
You give a promise of what you're going to do. That's the work you've been talking about.
Sure.
That's why the covenant comes in. So you give a promise. I will be with you. I will never leave you. I will cherish you. I will protect you, to love you, to hold you until death do us part. Now, that is not a feeling.
It is not.
All those words are not felt.
No.
All those words are responsibility. They are commitment. They are commitment.
Sure.
Now, when you realize their commitment, it brings us to what you have said. Marriage is work. And what work? I am going to be committed to you. So if I'm going to be committed to you, I'm going to be shaped towards you, into you, and we become one.
Yeah, no matter what. Now, you know, we all come by these chemistries, emotional impulse, but those are doorways that happen to every human, to every being.
But
there is
how
that
many
emotional.
are living?
And we don't stop there. Those are just an introduction of what is going to happen. So when you take a study, when you take a realization, when you take an understanding, when you do a consultation into your heart, then you drive extra mile of beginning to ask a question, is this God's will? Is this the person God has made for me? Out of the 7 billion point something people across the nations of the earth, why this one particular man? Why this one particular girl? Then revelation comes. You may even seek understanding. You may even do consultation to find out, because now you're going to what we call a non-return journey. There is no exit. There is no turning back. Because when you come to understand of marriage, you're going to be shaped into someone. You're going to die into one another. God expects you to become one.
There is no exit.
There is no exit.
There is no turning back.
There is no turning back.
It's a non-return journey.
Non-return journey.
It's a one-way ticket.
One-way ticket. Now, look at this, Pastor. The reason as to why I say no turning back, people think they can go back because there was a door of entrance and they regret of whatever that has happened behind. No turning back.
I want to hold you on that.
Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, he says no turning back.
Yes.
It's a one-way ticket when you're entering marriage.
Yeah.
The moment you understand that, it will change your whole life when it comes to marriage. And let me take a break and we'll be back in just a minute. Unlocking marital bliss. Unlocking marital bliss. We'll be back. You're still watching Unlocking Marital Bliss with me, Cyrus Rod. And I said we've been talking about marriage under siege. And we want to help you overcome, get out of the siege. If you are married, if you're planning to get married, you can be able to come out greatly. And before we took this break, Pastor Philip had just told us that actually when you're entering marriage, you got to know it's a one-way ticket. No turning back. It's not a return ticket. It's a one-way ticket. Now, Pastor Philip, you mentioned it's a one-way ticket.
Yes.
Once you enter, there is no coming out. No. And that is where the covenant comes in. Because a covenant is literally a commitment between two people that you will do certain things for their benefit as long as you stay alive.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Yes.
You say there's no return ticket.
No way.
How do I come out?
For sure, there is no coming out. But there is one thing I've always heard people talk about in marriage. And people want to discuss things like marriage is 50-50. A woman 50, a husband 50. Then we come together, we make 100.
No.
When you mention about a covenant, it is not 50-50. Me, as Philip, I have 100% commitment to my partner, regardless of what she has. So it's up to me to make this marriage work.
You see, Pastor Philip, we have a lot of boys. I mean, manhood has been so weakened in our generation.
Yes.
And because manhood has been weakened, womanhood has been destroyed. Okay?
Yes.
In the same way.
Yeah.
When a man is very weak, a woman will find it hard to be everything God wants her to be.
Yes.
So she becomes a pawn.
Yes.
She becomes a toy to the man. When a man is weak, a woman becomes something to play with. You get it?
Yes.
And on the other hand, the woman can also turn the man into something she can play with. But this is what happens. When a man sits at a table and says, I'm going to marry you, but I want to know what you bring to the table. That is not strength in a man. That is not strength. It's absolute weakness. Weakness.
Yes.
Because when Adam was in the Garden of Eden, he never asked, woman, what do you bring to the table?
Yeah.
Okay?
Here.
Now that you're here. It's because many men don't know who they are. This is why marriage is under siege. We don't know who we are. You get it?
Yes.
Because I'm male, I think I'm a man. But being male is by birth. Being a man is by choice.
Choice. And a decision you make.
Responsibility.
Yes.
Okay? I have boys. They were born boys by birth.
Yes.
Being a man is taking up responsibility. Being a man, you're saying, if I'm going to marry somebody's daughter, do you know what you're saying? You're literally saying, I am come to give you life and life more abundantly. Jesus never came saying, hey, what y'all have? Before I come down, what y'all have? What are you bringing to the table? No. He simply said, I'm coming. Everything I have is yours. This is what marriage is all about. Everything I have is yours. In other words, when I'm a king and I'm marrying you, I don't ask you, girl, what you're bringing to the table. Why? Because I am the king.
Yes.
Everything is mine. You don't bring nothing to me. I give you whatever makes you. All I need is loyalty. Be loyal to me. That is all. And I'll take care of you. I'll be your everything. You know? Now, when you mention men, what do you bring to the table? That's when I said we are very weak. Many males are very weak. You see girls struggling to be something, or I want to be this, so my man can marry me, so this man can take me, and then I want to do this so he can take me. No. Pastor Philip, marriage is under siege because most males don't know what it means to be a man.
Sure. Now, when you look at Genesis, when you understand, like when God say, between God saying it's not good for a man to be alone, and I will make him a suitable helper, there is a test that followed in those scriptures. That is when God brought about all animals to Adam. And Adam named every creature as we call it now. So he did that work and he never found a woman from that. Then God caused him to sleep, a deep sleep, and then got out a rib, and then created or formulated or whatever it is, a woman. When Adam wakes up from that sleep, he gives us an account. He says, this shall be called a woman, because she's born of my bones and fresh of my flesh. So they were once together, and God put apart, and then they become again one. Now the Bible continues to kind of explain on verses 24. For this reason, a man shall leave his parents and join to his wife. Now there has to be some reasons. And some translations talk about for this purpose. Now, men don't have reasons. Some men don't have reasons, don't have purpose, don't have focus, don't have goal, don't have standards as to why they get married. So they misrepresent us. But I want to speak as a man. If you are a man, you are intending to get married. My son, my brother, my uncle, if you want to get married, just understand there is no 50-50 in marriage. Marriage is unto men. Men are the heads of the family, as Christ is the head of the church. They initiate, you start, just know what you're starting. Acquire, study, get the education, all the analogy you need so that you may be a man. Now, the reason as to why we say this, because we want to uplift the standards of men to understand really who we are. I want to say this statement. It's going to really, really amaze you. Men are next to God. Men are next to God. If God is to talk or to say anything in marriage, he speaks to men. Then men speak to the women. You understand? Now, if the standard of a man does not match, then we will not have the guidance, we will not have the volume of God amplified. The volume of God is when we pray, when we do all those born again Christian and all of those Christendoms, you know, how we behave. I don't want to go into those details. And the reason as to why marriage is under siege, men have lost their position. That's why the joy that we get at the wedding, at the start, dies the next day, because now these men, the next day, they lose the standard. They begin to like, oh, you're welcome. Now, and they married the women for different reasons, not for marriage. Like you said, when we make covenant is not agreement.
No.
In English, those things are
It's
totally
not a
different.
contract
It's
either.
not a contract. Covenant involves death.
Yes.
In the Old Testament, covenants are sealed by and with blood. Now, my brother, you died that day on Saturday or Monday or whatever day you got that day of making your vows. You died. And where are you buried? You buried into that woman. And then, Mama, my sister, you buried into that brother. You're no longer true. You are a complete image of God. So we come to this point that devil will continually attack that image of God. That's why we need to work. We need togetherness. We need an understanding and a realization that these problems that we kind of put to table, these sentiments, these differences are brought about that devil, just like it was in Genesis, causing that chaos. So it will continue to hurt you. It will continue to kind of attack, but you have to have an understanding that marriage is work. So how do we work? We work to love. Love is work.
Love is a doing word. It's a verb.
It's a verb. Now, love is a sacrificial word.
Yeah.
When God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. Now, we come to the level of sacrifice. What are we sacrifice? First and foremost, we sacrifice ourselves.
Yes.
We die in marriage. You no longer, don't tell me, 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 when I was, you don't tell us that. You no longer exist and we don't even see you. We see marriage, the picture, the image of God. Don't give devil a chance to put you separate or asunder.
I love what you're saying. Yes. That when we come together, it's about sacrificing self. You sacrifice yourself. Yes. That is marriage. Mm-hmm. In simple terms, what you're saying is that, and this is where many people are disappointed and they're failing in marriage, and they realize, I'm under siege. What am I doing in this marriage? I can't stay here anymore. I can't breathe. I need to breathe. Oh, it's too much. And they come up with all this kind of stuff. But you see, many people walk into marriage. One, they think they own the marriages.
That is not, and it will never be.
They walk into marriage thinking, this is my marriage. But in actual sense, according to God, no human being owns a marriage. A marriage is owned by God. It's a gift of God.
Given to us as human beings to enjoy.
Every gift that God gives to you, to man does not own.
No.
Every gift that God gives to man receives the gift and works it. Whatever he does with the gift is a gift back to God. So man never owns. God never put ownership in our DNA. We were made as stewards.
Yeah.
Not owners.
That is deep.
We were made as stewards, not owners.
Yes.
So when we marry, God gives you the gift of marriage. Yes. So you don't own that marriage. So whatever you're going to do with that marriage is a gift back to God. And how are you going to work that marriage? Based on what the owner wants. Because God owns the marriage. Yes. Now, what are you going to do there? You're not going to do in that marriage what you want. You're going to do in that marriage or work in that marriage what the owner wants. Yes. Okay? Yeah. If you come into my house and I give you a place to stay in my house, and I've gotten you from everywhere I've gotten you, you don't do what you want in my house. You do what I, the owner, wants. So marriage is owned by God.
Yes.
We don't do what we want in our marriages. We do what the owner wants.
Yes.
Now, if we're going to do what the owner wants, then we're going to pursue what he expects of me
Yes.
as a husband,
Yes.
expects of me
As a woman.
as a woman, as a wife.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
But this is where the danger is.
Yes.
Because we think we own marriage, so I enter marriage pursuing my own expectations, not his expectations. And this is where you find us, and we sense marriage is under siege because
We are doing our selfish ambition.
our selfish ambitions.
Yes.
I no longer, I expected him to be this. He's not it. I expected. But what did God expect of you? In fact, if every couple stops and asks, what does God
does God want me to
expect
do?
of me
Yeah.
as a wife?
This marriage.
That's why if you do that,
Yes.
the siege will end.
Sure.
If you do that,
Because you
the
realize
siege
who you
will
are.
end.
Yes.
You realize who you are.
Represent
You
God in
realize who
marriage.
owns the marriage.
Yes.
You realize you don't do what you want, just like you say, it's sacrifice.
Yes.
You don't pursue what you want.
Yeah.
You pursue what the owner wants.
Sure.
And when that is established, Pastor Philip,
Yes.
and that has been done, there's going to be bliss in marriage. Because show me any marriage that is falling apart or under siege, and I'll show you selfish people.
People that
And
are
I
fallen.
repeat,
Yeah.
selfish people. And what are they saying? I expected him to do this, but he's not doing it. I expected her to be this, but she is not. I expected. Now, those are your expectations, and that is why you're discouraged. But you look at what God expects. The moment you discover, this is what God expects of me, and you pursue what he expects of you, you will not be able to even go for divorce. Look at this, Pastor Philip. You walk into marriage and you're joined in the church. You come before God. I put that in quotes, quote unquote, before God. And guess what? When your expectations are not met, you go to court. You don't go to God. You go to court. Why? Because there's no love in courts of law.
Only judgment.
There's no love. It's so adversarial. There's no love. I've seen families that go to courts of law and they never end in that manner. There is no love.
Yeah.
So people expected, when you go to courts of law, what are you expecting? You're the one who's been saying, he brought them as one.
Yeah.
You want,
To be separated or to divorce.
before God, can courts of law really separate you? I'm not talking about the world. I'm talking about God.
Now,
Yes, Pastor Philip, talk to us.
I want to get back to, like you said, marriage is a gift.
Yeah.
And this gift belongs to God.
Yes.
As I said earlier, love is a sacrifice.
Yes.
So when we come together, we are no longer me. We are
Yeah.
us. So people that are with that mind of selfish interests, they have fallen from the working or the grace or the love or the understanding of God. They are already fallen apart. Because now, when we talk about going to courts or to whoever that you wish to go for reasons of separation, then God ain't there. God is not going with you. You have not even thought about God. If you say that in the beginning, God told you to marry this woman, then you need to go back to God, and you don't expect separation from God. You expect what we call reconciliation. I know there has to be some differences. You know, when we are purging ourselves into one another, there is some pains, there is some things, some luggages we have to leave behind.
But as long as we are looking to please God,
God will still give us that grace. And Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 1 or 10, verses 10, I am what I am by the grace of God.
Yes.
But the grace of God that came to me was not in vain. Now,
I
I worked more abundantly than they all or them all.
Yes.
Not I, but the grace. Now, I bring marriage to this type of grace because grace is unmerited favor, something that you do not deserve. Some of us we don't even deserve to be married. You know, when you look at the background, the history of our fathers, it was just God, grace of marriage given to us. So we work more abundantly to have this marriage work. Marriage is given for three things. One, marriage is given for companionship. And God gave you that woman or that husband to have a companion. Companion is someone that is exactly like you. Someone that looks like you, someone who believes like you, of your company, to accompany you, to go with you. That's a companionship. Two, marriage was given for procreation. We are in this business of working with God to bring life on this planet Earth. Now, you have already done, you have children, and you are telling us we are going separate ways. I no longer expected, I wished, I thought. When the I is still spoken, then you are not married. Because in marriage, there is no I. I've never had you, Cyrus, in all our times of relationship, amplifying so much of you over her. I've never had that. Anytime you want to bring about your wife, or me and my wife, or us, because the Bible does not expect you to be you in marriage. Marriage is not I, is not you. Marriage is us. So anytime you are standing somewhere, think about two. Now, since marriage is given for procreation, these people have children. And now they want to go to have a separation or a divorce. Have you thought of that second stage of procreation that you worked with God? Because children are also gifts. Yes. Have you thought about that? Have you thought of the seeds you're planting? Have you thought of the moral decadence you are trying to put out as you want to tell them that your mother is no longer my wife, or we no longer friends, and then you are my children? Will you ever do a separation stage or process to do all that? Years to come, I promise you, my brother. 30 years to come, 50 years to come, you will never be separated. There will be a graduation where two of you have to come and remember whatever God spoke to you. A wedding will happen. Two of you will come together. Once God puts together, will never put asunder. We may emotionally, selfishly think we are separating ourselves, but that will never happen. The third stage of marriage is the victory over sin. When we talk about victory over sin, that is victory over Satan. Now, you need to stand as a woman. You need to stand as a man. Whatever that has come by, there is nothing that is new. There is those things that people have been able to control. Mark my words. There are those things that people have learned how to control, to manage, to overcome.
Yeah.
Some things are just to be controlled.
Yeah.
You never overcome it, but you control. Because life is lived under control, Pastor Silas. These are all beautiful women around us. Why don't we go for them? It's not because our women are here. It is called control. Now, you overcome sin, first stage as a human being, by control. There are those issues that are happening in your marriage. Have you been able to control, or you're just making an amplification of every idea? You know, you go everywhere telling people how bad your husband, how bad your wife, how bad your children, how bad the family where you married from, how bad your tribe.
Pastor Philip,
Yes. Yes.
this is so interesting. I know our time is running.
Yes.
But you mentioned what you're saying is about the selfishness that
Yes.
keeps going around.
Yeah.
The selfishness, because it's about my own expectations and not God's expectations of me.
Yeah.
As long as I have God's expectations of me, I will never have my marriage under siege.
Sure.
I will always win. And you talked about the kids coming in and then we separate. There's something, the world can start doing certain things, but the Bible will never grow old.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay?
Bible does not expire.
It doesn't expire.
Yes.
And here are a few things that I've seen. Today, generally, there is a new trend that started from the West. We never had it in Africa,
Yes.
but it started from the West. It's a new trend. And do you know how it works? This is what it says.
Yes.
We're separating. Now, two parents, selfish,
Yes.
two selfish parents, or one in their selfishness, rolling over the other one, decides I'm walking away. You get it?
Yes.
Without thinking about their children.
Yes.
Research has proved
Yes.
that all children, to develop well, they need both parents
Yeah.
in a stable. When they see stress in one of the parents, it affects them.
Yes.
That is why when these guys separate, the next thing that happens, they pass it on to their children, and their children grow up knowing we can be separated.
Yes.
There's one thing I've never found in the entire Bible. One thing.
Yes.
Co-parenting.
Coming together for this one common goal.
No. We don't come together because of the children. No. We came together because of God.
God. Yes.
And we are here to honor God. So co-parenting, you keep the children this week, I keep them this week. It's never found in the Bible.
It is not.
It is carnal.
Yeah.
It's not of God.
Yeah,
Co-parenting destroys the child much more than you would ever imagine. But because we've been too selfish, marriage is under siege. It's about our own expectations. We come up with all this. They're telling me my time is up. We come up with all this. Oh yeah, we can co-parent. Since when? You fear God and you're talking about co-parenting. What do you mean? You separate and you want co-parent? Oh, I'll come back next time. But before I turn out, Pastor Philip, a word in 2 seconds.
Just stand for marriage. God is about marriage. God will give you that grace. Just take the grace of God. The Bible says, I am not what I am by my own strength, but God will give you that grace. But when God gives you that grace, just know marriage is work. Work out your marriage. Work out your family. Don't run away. Stay together. Work it out. God will give you that grace. May God bless you.
Thank you so much. You've had it from Pastor Philip. It was good having you here. And yes, I tell you, the law will allow you to co-parent, but the Bible doesn't. I know some of you are going to get offended, but it's cool. Remember, marriage is easy. Only ignorance is hard. See you next time.
Unlocking marital bliss.